How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good, very good, busy but good. I'm sure you're busier. So I got to ask about. I was actually in Burlington, May 21st, the day of the storm. Is there still much cleanup to be done from that storm in Burlington?
There are pockets, yes.
Yeah.
There were some big trees that came down in neighborhoods. The region has organized a special pickup for larger trunk items. Of course, people can always put out branches. The limit is you have to bundle them, and it's 6 feet, roughly 2 meters by 1 meter, which is about 3 feet. So that you could always do with your yard waste, but they're doing a special pickup to come around and take the trunks. There are still city branches and trees out there that are
Okay.
still working on. So there are pockets where it's just depending on the trees that came down. It's kind of
Yeah.
red. There were some. We have a massive silver maple in our backyard, not a branch off it.
Oh well, you're
There was
lucky.
same vintage silver maple on the front yard of our neighbor's house right across the street from us that luckily fell toward a park, not toward their house. Whole thing came down.
Wow.
So it was really, it's really hard to predict what's happening. But yes, there is continued cleanup happening.
Oh, yeah, I was in Burlington that day, and it was weird because I was downtown by Spencer Smith, and one block had power and the other block did not. So it's like one restaurant was packed, the other restaurant had to be closed. So
Yeah, that's what happens, eh?
June 2nd is coming up in 2 days, election time. What's the most important thing that Burlington is looking for from the winner?
Well, we need them to see us as a partner, not as something to be managed. So pick a file, whether that's planning. We need more local planning control. Some of the proposals in the housing affordability strategy for the province will neither help housing or affordability and really will take democracy and local planning control right out of the equation. So we need to reset that conversation. Housing is one of the biggest issues, and nobody, no one level of government or the private sector or the nonprofit sector can do this alone. We have our housing strategy coming to committee next week. Lots of great recommendations and advice and things that the city can do, but then an area where we need to advocate and be partners. So that idea of partnering with other levels of government and certainly at the province is a key. You got to start there, and then everything else can come if you see each other as trusted partners.
Awesome. I was surprised to see a report on rentals.ca saying that Burlington has the third highest rent in all of Canada. What are your thoughts on that?
It's high. We've had a lot of new buildings built, and I think that's what's contributing to it. We've lost through redevelopment some of our older rental stock, which would be protected under rent control. We're seeing a lot of new units, which is good news, but those new units are priced at market rate.
True.
And so the real challenge, our vacancy rates we're starting to chip away at. We used to have a really low vacancy rate, and that's a challenge for people who need that type of housing. But I think that's part of the reason why we've had so many. Almost all of our development in Burlington has been apartment form, which is typically what's rented out.
Cool. Even ahead of Oakville, I was surprised at that. If land, sorry,
people want to live in Burlington. It's a great place to live.
no, it is. If the land swap with Halton School Board goes through, what are the plans for Robert Bateman High School site, the city, if they acquire it?
So those have been public since about last November, but I always love talking about it, so I'm happy to share. So Brock University will bring their education training program and active disabilities program from Hamilton. They're closing the Hamilton campus, so that is great news. They will take over some of the space. Halton District School Board wants to move their adult education from Gary Allen to Robert Bateman, so there will still be a continuing use from the board in the school, which is great. There's a pool there right now. We don't own it, but we've run it as a city pool, so we'll acquire ownership of that. There our gyms that are there that have been obviously for the school use, but will now be available for community use and programming. We need more gym space. Our library, Appleby Branch Library, is bursting at the seams, and their lease is coming up in the retail plaza, so we want to move them over. And Tech Place, which is our business economic incubator, wants to move in and take space. With all of that, there is still space left over. This is a big, big facility. And there's also a track behind it, and there's a park behind it. So this is going to be, and if you just count the community uses so far, the pool, the library, the gyms, it will be the biggest community center in the city. Bigger than Tansley, which is the next biggest, which also has a pool, gyms, and community meeting spaces. So once the arrangements are finalized to acquire the property, we will be able to be in a position to talk to the community about, okay, we've still got all this space left over. What would you like to do with it? What other groups, what other uses can we accommodate here? There's some great facilities. This is an incredible community center, not just for Ward 5. It's located in Ward 5, but this will serve the entire city, as all our community centers do. But because of the nature of what's going in there, this will be a citywide facility. It's awesome.
Awesome. June is National Bike Month. What is Burlington more towards the bikers or the drivers, or what are you guys doing?
Well, our modal split is what you would expect of a community that is significantly suburban in build form. So, and people commuting outside the community long distances for work. Now, some of that is changing with remote work and less need to leave the city for work. But we have an integrated mobility plan that is currently being worked on, where we are bringing together all forms of transportation. Active transportation, walking, cycling, transit, and the car, because we need to accommodate all of the above, but make sure that our streets are safe for everybody, from walkers right up to single car passenger vehicles, and make sure that there's space that is safe and that we build our community appropriately. So we're getting an update on that at committee next week. The full plan is coming forward later this year. But we'll get a bit of a preview of what sort of the new world of mobility will look like in Burlington with the reconstruction happening on Plains Road, where the way they've designed the bus turnouts to make it safe for people to board. There's cycling lanes that are separated from traffic, still the same number of lanes of traffic for drivers that need that type of transportation. So it's really thoughtful, and it really becomes a prototype as we reconstruct major roads throughout the city. We're going to start to look at accommodating all of our transportation users.
Are scooters a part of that plan?
They are part of that plan.
Yeah.
Yep. And figuring out where they best belong, because they move at a faster pace, obviously, than pedestrians.
Sure.
They're about, most of them can go about the same speed as a slow cyclist. That would be me. I'm not a fast cyclist, but I like to get out on my bike and ride. So yeah, they're part of the mix for sure.
Awesome, cool. Any update on the LaSalle Park Marina?
We will have an update imminently, within a few days, certainly by committee next week. All signs are pointing in the direction of one way or the other. We're going to get boats in the water this summer. That's our goal. Awesome.
And I saw this come out in Halton. What happened to the reopening of Mountainside Pool?
It's called a labor strike.
All right, okay. Next question.
It's affecting everybody in the concrete sector, and there was another sector which has delayed projects across the province, and we're one of those that's been caught by that, unfortunately. We're ready to go, but you can't do it without people to do the work.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. They look gorgeous, so.
It'll be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and last question. It's June tomorrow. Summer events are upon us. What is the Mayor of Burlington looking forward to the most over the next 3 months?
I am just so happy to be out talking to people. It is so nice, wherever it is. So I was at the Lions Club Market on the weekend. It was great to see people face to face. I'll definitely be down at Sound of Music. Rib Fest is back. Lakeside a la carte, movies in the park, road races, you name it, it's coming back to Burlington. And just the opportunity to be out in the community and see people face to face is such a gift, and you don't realize how much we've all missed that until it comes back. And it's just given everyone a lift for their spirit. Everyone's in a good mood, which is nice.
Yeah. So is there any, I'm going to put you on the spot, is there any like unique new events that you know about that?
Yes, the Veg
Okay.
Edge Fest happening, I believe it's August 20th, double check that, out at Burloak Park. So
Nice, okay.
there's all kinds of great stuff about that. It's in a different part of the city, which people have been asking for to move some of the bigger events around. It's vegetarian focused, as you would guess. So we've been hearing that call. We've got Rib Fest, which is a whole different type of festival. People are looking for different food offerings. I think it's awesome.
Cool.
So that's a brand new one coming to town. And I know, the response from the community has been phenomenal. People were like, yes, can't come soon enough.
Nice. Mayor, is there anything else you want to talk about? Those are all my questions.
Well, we have a packed agenda next week. So the housing strategy is coming forward with ideas for what we can do. We talked a little bit about that earlier. But really, I encourage people to have a look at the agendas. We do synopsis on my social feeds about what's coming and what we think might be of most interest to the community. But the work of the city doesn't slow down. We're continuing to serve the community and make sure that we get major initiatives that will benefit the community through.
Awesome. Cool. Well, hopefully one day in my walk through Spencer Smith, I go there once or twice a month, and I'll bump into you one day.
I'm sure it will happen. I'm out almost every day. Well, I am out every day, but I'm not always down with Smith. Walking the dog. So,
awesome. Mayor, thanks so much, Mayor. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.